Hello everyone, welcome back to the Landedkiller show. Today I just wanted to touch briefly on my current thoughts with the game and just kind of the state of the channels and why uploads have been kind of a little less consistent as of late. So I'm basically working a lot of hours lately because I have some bills to pay and I'm not bringing in the same amount of income as I did before, so I'm not able to keep up with the Joneses and stuff, as I used to be able to. So a lot of my reviews will be on stuff I already have, as I've said once before, and honestly, I just want to take a minute just to talk about this stuff right here. This Hollow Live stuff, it's up for you guys to decide if you want this. The only thing different about these captains is just they have unique voiceovers, and that's really the only difference. And their 10 skill points, you get all these bonuses and these flags. If you like it, you like it. Me, personally, I prefer Arpeggio Blue Steel, but that hasn't had a collaboration with Wargaming in at least maybe a year now, at least. That's from what I understand. As for the state of the game, how do I feel about it? I feel like the game's kind of in the middle of a huge push to make things harder to obtain, in a sense, that you used to be able to get for free, such as historical combat missions. Used to be able to get those just by clicking on an article and then clicking on an orange button. It was that simple to get access to those kind of missions, but now it seems that our fabulous developers have decided to lock that behind a $3 paywall on YouTube for some silly reason. Honestly, I just have mixed feelings about that. And I think they ought to approach things in a way that appeals to more players. And I'm not a big fan of this armory event, how they're hiding the Tashkent 39 behind a paywall. A cleverly disguised paywall, because you need to have all them token things in order to exchange for it. It's probably a decent way to convert resources if you want, but I really just don't see the value in the event besides draining more of your credits and your free experience and your coal away from you. And that's kind of the whole point of the event in my eyes. Just whatever you don't have, let's take all of the stuff you've earned and let's kind of convert it or whatever. And you'll notice that under the armory tab that it has an option to convert with 100 doubloons attached, and you get significantly more. Again, another way to get you to spend more money. I think that perhaps the company has fallen on hard times, and that's why they're pushing monetization more heavily on their defense to a certain degree. But I feel that the new player experience shouldn't be ruined by all this monetization shoved in their faces when they first launched the game. Because a good 3 to 4 years ago, we were able to have free events, like free ships from actual events, such as the October Revolution from the Russian Battleship Early Access event. It was a mission marathon, but at the end of it, you actually got some for free. Dockyards used to actually have some free components of Blitz. It took a lot of time, but you're having to spend, I want to say, around, what is 5,500 doubloons cost? Let me think. You're sending around maybe $20 just to get those early access. Just to get those phases in, I think it's around $20 or so. Because you got to buy 5 phases at least, and if you don't do the early access stuff, you just really are SOL. Look at how we got to deal with all these subs now, stuff that we didn't have to deal with before. Even in co-op, they're making these bots smarter, so these subs actually do some damage to you. My whole position on the subs really hasn't changed. I find that the homing torpedoes are really the most broken aspect of them. And I feel that if you wanted to fix that, that you'd actually apply a stealth penalty of some sort when a homing torpedo is actually used. So I don't know what's going on with their decisions with having that be just a little mirage, little thing that pops up or whatever, but I feel like eventually we're going to get a mechanic on a submarine which is similar to the burst fire mechanic on Annapolis, and that submarine will be essentially either a super submarine or a premium tier 10, and I don't long for that day to happen, but knowing Wargaming, it will happen, and it will probably have homing torpedo capabilities, which will just kill the fun of the game, honestly. I mean, just imagine you take Alliance for a second, right? You take these torpedoes it currently has, you get that range jacked up to maybe 10 kilometers. Let me finish the thought here. So, this is your normal torpedo, right? This is the homing. Just imagine if this range was out to around 13.5 kilometers. The torpedo speed was around, let's say, 68 knots for your homing, like it is here. And you're able to just fire these torpedoes with some reload consumable or ability like you could on Annapolis. Wouldn't that be game breaking? I think it would be. But I think that these developers are going to be stupid and release that sort of submarine into the game. I don't know when, but I think it will happen at some point. And going back to the Army event itself, this is what I was meaning by locking Tashkent behind here. You need 83 of these token things, and you can only get them through using your resources as one way, or using the balloons as the other way. You can see that essentially the main transaction is to get you to use these, along with the balloons to get you to have more of a resource. But noticeably absent is steel, which may or may not be a good thing. I just think this is getting childish, locking this behind these token things. That's just what I'm going to call them. Armory exchange vouchers, tokens is the same thing. You lock in a ship behind another special resource again in a time limited event too, just like they did with Brisbane. Granted, Brisbane had missions to actually get the tokens from what I understand, but I wasn't really active during that time. I was busy running around, door dashing, and all the like. But honestly, I've been kind of having mixed feelings about this entire event. San Martin, this whole early access event, I believe, wraps up within about a week or so, I believe, from when this video actually will come out. It's going to end by the time 12.4 launches, which should be relatively soon within this next week here. Then I think we get European destroyers early access, followed by Spanish cruiser early access shortly after. I don't really have anything against Wargame besides the fact that they're nerfing super containers, changing everything around ever so slightly. Essentially, when they did their super containers have come around twice as often sort of a deal, it basically devalued the anniversary event itself, because you only get one of these super containers now, which will have half of its value compared to when you used to get them. Let's not beat around the bush and let's be serious on it. As for when I will do a next ship review, I know it's been a while, but I'm thinking that we go with something that maybe you all want me to do next. I have to go back through and see which ones I haven't done, but I guarantee you it's a good majority of these I haven't done yet. Plenty of content for years to come, honestly. It's crazy. I'm thinking maybe I'll review Black, because I don't think I've reviewed it yet, and I think that would be an interesting video. Or perhaps I will review Verde. I just gotta check my playlist and stuff to make sure I haven't already reviewed these ships. But I want to get back to reviewing ships and doing the best that I can. As for why there's no videos on the other channels as often as before, the answer is really simply time and the lack of it available to me these days. I'm not going to go and take some hiatus and be like, bye-bye guys, no more content. It's not how I am. But I'm going to do this instead. Where I'm going to try my absolute best to get a video out on this channel at least once per week. The other channels will be as time permits for the time being, until I have more time available to me, which should be hopefully later this month, when I am caught up on everything financially. But at this point, the best way to support my content would be just liking the videos and sharing them with your friends. Oh yes, I set some alarms. I forgot about those. No biggie. Just that, or it's just my alarm reminding me that I have work in an hour here. You always gotta make sure that you're on time to everything, you know, and that's kind of what I do, is I like to set alarms, I like to keep reminders. That way I'm keeping on top of things. But going back to how you can support the channels, there is a Patreon now that has different tiers, and if you want to choose to support me in that way, I'd greatly appreciate it, as I'm going out maybe, I wouldn't say Photoshop's 10 and then Premiere Pro's around 20 something now. That's up to you guys, and I'm not going to sit there and push that on anyone, but there is a lack of time, and if somehow I could make it so where this channel took off a little bit, I wouldn't have to put so much time into the work. I could put more time into this instead like I used to. But until then, you know, I appreciate all the support that you give me on the videos. Just sharing and liking them helps a lot, and that's all I would ever ask from anyone. Supporting me on Patreon is something as a bonus or something if you want. I'm not going to push it too much, but just know that videos will be kind of, when I get time in this channel, I'm going to do my absolute best to get at least one video out on it per week, just because I'm so busy. But I appreciate all of you, and I can't wait to you all see me on the next video. It's going to be great. Thank you for your support as always.